It isn't what Kevin Samuels was trying to get to. You feel me? So listen to a little bit of this.
My position is that the black woman's disrespect and rebellion against the leadership and the authority of the black man is a direct cause of the breakdown in our black family structure. Now, of course, there are many black people who consider those fighting words because as black women, we have never been subject to the kind of examination that our men have been subject to since we have been here. We have been somewhat protected and shielded from any kind of critiquing about our personal behavior, whereas our men have always been up for examination. The book is not an attack on black women. I have never said that all black women do everything that I list in my book. None of us have lived long enough to do everything that I list in the book, but most of us do some of the things that I've listed in my book. And I do say that it is not because of generalizations that we are all victimized by some of the negative patterns of behavior in the book, but the book just represents our collective contribution. This is some of everything that we have done or that we do daily that contributes to the breakup of our relationship, the destruction of our man, and the failure of our children to be able to function. They did not tell us that all of that being my own person and I'm independent would lead to separation, loneliness, celibacy, and lesbianism. They didn't tell us that if you give up the man, you're going to take one of these things and it's worse and it will destroy your nation. They didn't give us that information. They made us think that it was some kind of glorified position to brag about the fact that I got my own job, my own credit card, my own car, so I don't need no man. I don't even know how we got that mixed up. Ain't none of that got nothing to do with being with no man.
Wait, real quick. In family, let's have a conversation for a minute. In context, this is 1989, right? This is in the 80s. She's speaking about the independent nature of a woman, the divide created between the black man and the black woman. Tell me this shit don't happen still today. We got songs like Independent Woman. We got songs like Don't Need No Scrub. None of these are taken into account the actual positioning, the situations, the racism, the systematic indifference that we've had to deal with in this country. Excuse me, family. These are some of the ailments our black women have had to go through, right? Excuse me. These are real things that she's talking about. In as a community, black women need to be held accountable just like us. We get told, I'm a black man with 5 kids by 3 different women. Let's keep this shit real today. I was made to feel like, to a degree, rightfully so, like I was shiftless, like I was irresponsible, like I was a bad seed because of this, like because I've started my family this way, this makes me undesirable to other women. I've had to deal with a lot of shit because of how I decided to start my family. And again, I was always aware. I feel some of that way too. Like I feel some of the ways I've conducted myself has led me to a situation where I can't be as productive as I want to be, and that ain't cool. Like I shouldn't have did that, right? So if as a man, I can be told I need to pay child support, I need to quit being shiftless, I need to get a job, I need to take care of my family, I need to do all of these things. Some of these things are like a westernized version of what reality should be. Like none of this shit was constructed by us. For the most part, it was constructed by the system. But fine. This is how I'm dealt with in America by my women, by other people. And again, as a man, I'm thinking, rightfully so, I need to fix some of this shit. But what happens when we turn that onto the woman and say, hey, look, you need to think about who you fucking with when you have kids. You need to think about this list you've created about the type of man you want. Have you turned the camera, the mirror on yourself to say, hey, self, do I deserve that kind of man? Have I put myself in a position to obtain that kind of man? Have I been unrealistic with my goals and my dating realities? Is this the thing? Like, have I told myself, hey, self, be accountable? Let's keep that shit real. Women aren't conditioned, and I know a lot of women ain't gonna want to hear this shit. Women, I'm speaking specifically for black women right now, because what white women going through with they white man, that shit ain't got nothing to do with you. Women have been conditioned to be not as accountable as black men. They've been conditioned to be the damsel in distress. They've been conditioned to be the victim at times. When it comes to the relationship between black men and black women, I'm sorry, but that's a fact, right? So I'm going to play a little bit more of this, but that shit pissed me off seeing everybody talk shit about this brother in his death simply because he had an opinion. And again, let's be clear, the opinion was based on how he thought about what black women should do to get to a particular position. And I'm playing this video because this sister was a part of that ideology. She felt the same way. She presented it in a very similar way a decade ago, several decades ago, and she received the same type of backlash that he got. So let me let y'all listen to a little bit more of this.
We have some serious relationship problems that nobody has been able to address us on because everybody wants to pretend that this is not going on. Over 60% of our women are single, widowed, separated, or divorced. They don't have a man. I just came out of Florida, and they got a housing complex that the Urban League built, which is a black organization that is for women and children only. They say they don't allow any men in there. I didn't have time to deal with it, but I talked about them real bad. That's the silliest program I've ever heard of. The women that had men, if they got a bunch of children, they need fathers. They need protection. We hear about the drug problem that we have in our projects across the country. It's one of the major places that we have a drug problem. We talk about the great strength that we have as black women. Well, the welfare department don't rent government apartments to single black men. Those apartments belong to black women who are allowing this to go on in their home.
So look, again, what is she actually doing? Like, what is she actually saying, right? Only thing this sister is doing is saying, hey, black woman, there are some things you can be accountable for. There are some things based on the systematic indifference, the structural racism. We can never take those things off the table because these institutions are the creation of what we see today. We can never take that off the table. But this sister was saying the same type of shit Kevin Samuels